Hello. So recently I've decided that spending time in my house just being affected by the devil is not the most effective use of my time. And in fact, I need to spend my time doing something at least not harmful. And thanks to the enlightening experience, which is known as having my house SWAT raided for something that they gave me, being an unarmored citizen, and the further enlightening experience known as being set up to be assassinated multiple times because people are selfish as a stupid motherfucking bitch, and that they're not actually law enforcement officers and they're actually criminals, and I'm an actual law enforcement officer who needs to take his fucking powers back from the corrupt ass institution known as the shit that they stole from my family. So what I'm gonna do is peacefully start perusing my neighborhood, and I'll be unarmed. I will have a utility knife on me just in case I need to open a package or a letter, for example, or do some gardening or something like that, or just work on my truck, in case something requires me to cut through maybe a wire or something like that. I've got a Zara utility belt on. I'm just gonna put my phone, my wallet, and my utility knife in there, and then I'm gonna go drive around the neighborhood with my GoPro as a dash cam, and I'll probably just turn it on if I see any marked cars, because to me that says, hello, I'm a criminal, and I'm acting like a law enforcement officer, and I'm looking for people to hurt, which is the opposite of what I'm supposed to do. And of course, if I see uniformed individuals who are being productive to society, I won't interfere with their civil duty. It's just like racism. You can't judge by a uniform or a marking, but it can be representative of a potential issue. I can tell you that much. So I'd just like to start, using my time to establish a routine and a precedent as a constitutionally aware American. I'd like to point out that laws are often lies. You're welcome. So, let's get ready with me. Once again, this is not an armored vest. I pity the fool. And here's my utility knife, which, is normal for people to have on them, just in case they need a knife. Many times during the day, I find myself needing a blade to do various things on any given day, although I admit some days I don't need a blade at all. You never know though, you might need one. But it's not for hurting people. Then let's see. I'll have some gloves just in case it gets colder. Pen and pencil in case I need to document something. Which reminds me, I should probably bring a notebook with me in case I need to take notes on any potential criminals in the area, especially if I can document their residences, seeing as that seems to be what they think is how it works. Well, it's okay when we do it, but not when you do it, because you're a criminal and we're law enforcement. Well, by that logic, you're a criminal and I'm law enforcement. And all your laws are lies. And all it takes is one man. And you thought you solved it by cutting off my foreskin and saying I have no manhood. Well, you're right, I don't have any manhood, but I still have a man. He's right here. And I never will have a manhood. Sorry. So you can't use it against me. And if you try, well, let's see where that goes. It's what's happening. It's what's happening. So, early message. If you're out there helping people today, actually helping them, don't worry about me. I'm not your enemy. Okay? If you're out there hurting people and acting like you're helping people, you still don't need to worry about me. Because all I'm going to be doing is watching and waiting and practicing. So you do you, and I'll do me. Oh yeah, and before we go, I'll be bringing my mycology toolkit, because you never know. You never know when you're going to find an interesting mushroom. You know what I mean? You just never know when you're going to have one of those days when you find an interesting mushroom. In Northern Virginia especially, there's tons of interesting mushrooms. One mushroom that I'm particularly fond of is the morel. Before I go out, I should probably play the piano, because I did say I'd be practicing, didn't I? Now, I'm not very good at the piano, but it's something I have available to me. Like I said, I'm not very good.
kills and is to be considered armed and dangerous. Suspect is potentially in possession of narcotics and federal equipment. Lethal force is authorized if combat occurs. I'd say we're already there, so I'm being nice. Suspect is likely going to be going over the posted recommended speed limit. Confirmed. Confirmed. Arrestable subject detected. Suspect any further due to confirmation of guilt. And now, as a constitutionally aware American, I would like to take a moment out of my day to exercise my free speech and say as many types of the N-word as I could think of right now. Starting with the worst one, which is nigger. The next one would be indubitably nigga. And then from there we can go to nyaka, etc. Suspect detected turning towards Annandale High School from wherever the fuck I am. Will not be pursuing due to the fact that I'm stuck at a fucking red light. But just know I'm on to them. In front of me is what is likely a fellow officer, considering all of the livery additives that they have on their cruiser. Company
viral video content, we could get extra paychecks and promotions, and we might even get fucking medals of honor because we're so honorable and we're so smart. We should probably get fellatio as well as a result of our service and duties. Let's see if there's anything we can take from his residence while we're at it, because we deserve it. We deserve it. We're the best. And we make viral video content. Hoorah. Because everyone likes us and no one likes him.
So to clarify, there were two suspects. One was in a white car, as I mentioned, and then the other one was in a traditional SUV-style police cruiser. That was the one going towards Annandale High School. They seem to have quite a presence in that area. They likely have a drug dealer in that area. And they're also probably being pedophilic, although not in the correct sense, as you might realize. Philia means love. So they're not doing that. It's not love. It's a misnomer. It's called abuse.
Anyway, just like any good cop, I have to go practice my rifling at the range.
go first. Yeah, go ahead. actually, something interesting just happened. On the way over here, I was able to monitor my speed. Now, however, my speedometer seems to have stopped working. I will have to get that checked out. My fuel gauge hasn't been working ever since I got the vehicle, but I can track that with the odometer. I can track my speed with other methods, such as my phone, or just using my awareness. But it really helps to have a working speedometer. I'll have to ask my dad to help me with that. Now, I want to point out something noteworthy about this situation. On the way over here, I located a suspect who is impersonating an officer of the law who was speeding in a school zone. And I knew that because I was able to check my speedometer. Now, isn't it so interesting that I left my vehicle unattended in a parking lot while I performed a law enforcement activity, and then when I got back, my speedometer wasn't working anymore? What a fucking coincidence. It's almost like I'm right that they're fucking criminals or something. I don't know. You tell me. Alright, now I'm not a gambling man, but who wants to take bets that since I pointed it out, they're gonna double down and something else is gonna be wrong? I'm putting it in the garage just in case. Not that it'll change anything. They don't have any problem entering my residence without my permission. And damaging my property without my permission. Semper fizzle, my nizzle? Or are you just finna drizzle?
So much for law enforcement on their part, right? That's the type of shit they do. They say, "Oh, well, you're enacting terrorism and you're harassing good officers of the law who are just trying to make an honest living. They're not criminals. You're a criminal, and we're performing preventative crime management by removing your ability to incriminate, to unlawfully incriminate an officer of the law. Also suck my penis and or vagina juices. And then go to prison where I can repeatedly rape you, because that's all prison is." Is there anything more classically criminal than cutting someone's cable, speedometer cable, or something to that effect? I mean, it's an old ride. And, you know, I'm going to point something out here to be fair. Let's sit down for this one. It's entirely possible, within the realms of all possibilities ever, that somehow it just magically stopped working, and that it's not somehow a criminal attempt to instill fear and teach someone a lesson about what's the word? How do you describe it? Something about going up against the forces that be. I can't even think of the word. I can't even think of the phrase. It's possible. However, what do we know? What we know is that suspect was speeding in a school zone, which, by the way, I would like to point out, I've been ticketed $100 for speeding in a school zone near Woodson, because they had a camera set up and they made the school zone speed low, and then no one else apparently was going that speed. And for a consistent amount of time, when I, after that, pass through that school zone, I'm typically the only one going that speed. I follow the recommended speed from now on when I'm in that school zone. And it seems like I'm pretty much usually the only one going that speed. So either I was singled out, or they're making a fuck ton of money off of that speed camera. But for some reason, you know, they think they can do it because they think they're above the law or whatever, you know? That's called crime. They're criminals. They're not following the law, they're criminals. And I caught them being criminals. And the thing is, I'm not using their court system because their court system is corrupt. Anyway, just pointing it out. Some very simple logical deduction. Oh, and also, now I know that standardized test scores are not always the best measurement of ability. However, I would like to point out that by their standardization, the standardization that they employ, you know, I seem to be pretty capable. I seem to be pretty good at intelligence tests. You know, at least decent. At least decent. You know, I'm having a little bit of difficulty showing. I'm trying to, this GoPro is not focusing very well. Anyway. It's so blurry, but anyway, you can pretty much see that. You know, I did okay. Wasn't perfect scores, but I did okay. So one can reasonably deduce that I may potentially be able to read between the lines in certain situations. And that's all I'll say.